Hi, dear viewers. Good evening to you, or good morning, good day to you wherever you are. My name is Father January, and I come to you again with an expose interview on the book written by our one and only Very Reverend Father Raymond Osei Tutu, The Flower from My Mother's Garden, Sermon Memoirs. And this book has proven to be very interesting, very informative, very educative, very practical and simple. And this is a book that is going to help many of our youth, many of our parents, and many children, or many seminarians or aspirants, in so many ways to grow physically and spiritually. And we are still looking at the episodes or the chapters in this book. Today, we want to look at the flower that is ready, the flower that is ready from the garden. And then we shall also look at the chapter 6 of this book, where that talks about the vocation harbingers. Join me as I welcome Very Reverend Father Raymond Osei Tutu.
Thank you very
much. So this beautiful discussion. You are welcome once again.
Great.
The discussion is still ongoing.
Yes.
And we are still exploring this beautiful book that you have written. Now, this episode or this chapter, I don't know to say whether to say it's a sad one or because there's death of the gardener.
I think this is one of the greatest part. My
wonderful.
It's for me. It's one of the fun.
Wow.
Fun because it's the chapter of the eye opener.
Okay.
So it's not sad at all. It's not sad at all. In fact, it's there. We have with a mixed feeling.
Yes.
With a lot of positives coming out.
Yes.
Of that. Yes.
This chapter looks like Jesus, who has prepared his apostles, prepared them, and now it is time to leave. In fact, it tells them, I am with you.
Yes.
Yes.
This chapter is very interesting because I title it "The Flower Ready for the Master's Use."
Okay.
I see myself as the flower which was prepared by my mother, and at this time, I had gotten to the stage where it was time for me to face my master alone, and my mother would withdraw from the scene. So this was the beginning of my priesthood. Now, getting to the time of my ordination, my mother was sick. And I must put on record that ever since I have known my mother, as a young boy, growing up 12, 13 years, she was always a sick woman. She struggled bad health, and
but she was
always
active.
Very active. She always fluctuated between a day of very active. Let's say if you had 1 week, she would have 5 days of it in the hospital and just 2 days of it at home. So that was how this was the woman and mother that I knew. So she was always a sick woman. And by the time of my ordination, or the time when I was being, put on the furnace and my ordination was delayed, it was very clear that my mother had gotten to the end. And all indications were that she would have passed on early. But she kept saying to us that until the ordinations have been taking place, she was not going to die. She was so confident about that. And as fate will have it, that's exactly what happened. So by the time of the ordination, she kept telling everybody that now she has finished her job. She can go to her master in peace. Within a year of this, the reality had come to pass. And how did it come to pass? When time was approaching 0, I visited my mom in the hospital, and she sat me down and said to me, "My son, you know that I have been sick in and out of hospitals. This particular sickness, I am not coming back home." her statement was so clear to me that I understood exactly what she said. I wept like a baby. I wept. I wept. At that time, I was the priest of the assistant priest at St. Teresa's with Father Boy as my pastor. I went home sad. After the following day, I went to visit her. She didn't say anything.
Yeah.
About a week later, she brought up the subject again.
Yeah.
And he said, my son, last week, I started a subject with you and you were not ready. Now, let's talk about it. Once again, I broke down and I started crying. But this time, not so much tears. So she realized I was still not ready. She waited for about 2 weeks for me and I came back. And then she said, my son, it is time. Let us talk about it. So now I was ready. And we sat down for about 2 to 3 hours. In her pain, she asked me to ask her whatever. And we had a deep, deep conversation. And afterwards, she told me, it is time. It is time. This was somewhere, I think it was a Friday. So on the Sunday, I went to visit her. And when I went to visit her and everybody was talking, she just bent a little bit closer to me and she said, now is the time. So when she said that to me, it means I needed to anoint her. And you know what I did? I forgot I was a priest.
Yeah.
I
You went to
moved out. I went to Good Shepherd and called Father Campbell and asked Father Campbell to come and anoint my mother. And so Father Campbell came and anointed her. When he finished, and then we were going to see Father, I was going to see Father Campbell off. Father Campbell looked into my face and said, Raymond, are you okay? I said, yes, Father, I'm very fine. He says, you are not. He says, why? He says, why didn't you anoint your mother? Have you forgotten you are a priest? It was then that I realized that, oh, I could have even anointed her myself. I was so confused that I forgot that I was even a priest. That's what a son and a mother relationship looks like at death.
Just to hold brief for you, when I read that part, I was asking maybe you didn't have the oils with you at that time.
I did in my car. I did have the oils in my car.
Okay, then you're really confused.
Oh, I was confused. I did have the oils in my car.
Okay.
And I drove with the oils to Father Campbell. Everything was with the stool and everything, holy water.
You're really confused.
I was really.
Wow. Yeah.
So Father Campbell, days before my mother had spoken with Father Campbell and told him that, look, I'm about to leave, take care of my son. So Father Campbell knows that very well. And to Sister Bridget also, and then Father Boy, she called these 3 people and told them that, please, when I leave, take care of my son for me. So when I came back, I told my dad that, my dad was telling me that the doctor said it was time. I said, oh, I'm aware of everything. In fact, by the morning, she was gone. The doctors had not said anything to her, but she knew.
And by this time, you were not ordained.
I was ordained. I was a priest a year. I was a priest a year. She waited for the ordination and she saw me and she prepared me even for death.
Yeah.
This is the one who, that's why I say she prepared me for the master's use.
Yeah.
So then from there, I knew how the funeral was going to be done. I knew where she was going to be buried. I knew everything because we had discussed it. I knew. She told me things about my father that I cannot even repeat to him. She told me things that I know. So these were privileged moments. And so she died. And she died on the 7th of October on the feast of the triumph of the Holy Rosary. Yeah. So that's what. And we buried her. And she asked of me if I could do the funeral for her. And I said, why not? So I made sure that the funeral, I was strong enough to be able to do the funeral. And I made sure that if tears were coming, they were just being controlled. And then in Accra and then in Kumasi. But when everything was done and we got to the cemetery, in the book, you find pictures of us carrying a casket to the cemetery 25 years ago. I stood under a tree, which is still standing up to today. I visited the place not long ago, and I saw the tree. I stood under when she was covered, and I wept tears. This was when I knew everything was over. Father Boy stood behind me, just like you are, said not a single word, and allowed me to weep. And I wept, and I wept. And from that time, I knew that a new chapter had been opened in my life. And since that day, every day, I speak about my mother. I speak about my mother. She taught me everything, including death, and told me how death is. When I'm called, when I'm being sent on, going on sick calls as a priest and everything, my mother had taught me how to, face all these things. So it was not, her lessons were very, very practical. She taught me with bad examples. She taught me with good examples. She taught me practically, and she taught me theoretically. So that's why I say it's not just an eulogy about my mother. It's just a reality of who she is and how I experienced her. She was a mother to me. This from then I knew that I am ready for the master, and I could say, yes, this is the ministry that I have embraced. Yes.
To understand clearly what Father is talking about, you just have to read a book, then you will know what we are talking about. So we just want to move straight away to what we call the vocation harbingers. Yes. So these harbingers are supposed to be things or moments that moved you or gave you indication that, yes, I am being called.
Yeah.
Whereas you could not clearly hear a voice or like Samuel and all that. But there were indications that the Lord is calling you to become a priest. Will you wish to discuss? There's about 2 or 3 of these moments. There's one we call the
ballot.
The ballot.
The ballot.
The ballot. The ballot. Yes.
The ballot, yes.
That is very, very nice. I mean,
interesting. The ballot was the ballot, because when I was in primary, the secondary school before sixth form, by the time I got to sixth form, I needed to decide. I realized the vocation was getting clearer to me. I didn't have a burning bush experience, but I had a burning heart experience.
Okay.
I was feeling the need to take a decision because things were going in one way and I needed to take a decision. So by sixth form, I had to take a decision. And I remember one day praying and, just writing on a piece of paper, 2 pieces of paper, and I just put in the priesthood.
Yeah.
I remember writing priesthood and then others. So I wrote the 2 and I put in my folded and put in my front pocket, and I kept it for the whole week, for the whole weekend. And after the weekend, I needed to take a decision to know where I would go. So I went to the chapel, I prayed, and then afterwards, I, just put my hand in my pocket and I said that the one that I pick first is the one that I'm not supposed to pursue.
Okay.
So you can imagine the one that I picked if I am a priest.
Yes.
I did not pick the one for priesthood. I picked the one for the others.
Yeah.
And then it told me that is not what I am supposed because that's the story. If way before I would understand the story of Michelangelo, I got to understand that it's not only, God speaks to us not only in positive ways, but also sometimes in negative ways. Yeah. So the stones had to be removed, and what was left is what should be.
Yeah.
So I picked that. And that is what then I started praying about priesthood from sixth form. But when I finished the sixth form, I remember telling you about my academic. I failed.
Yes.
I failed bitterly. I just failed. And my assistant headmaster took a very bold decision. He re-registered me. If you read a book, you get the details.
Yeah.
He re-registered me when my parents were not even aware. And that was what got me into the seminary to go and do my resit.
So this was your A-level?
A-levels. So at A-levels, my first attempt was a failure, fiasco, proper. And then I failed.
Nobody will believe that.
No. Well,
today nobody will believe
today,
that.
well, I failed. So now when I rewrote the exams, the very day, the very day we finished the exams, then I met the young bishop, handsome bishop that had just been ordained in
the charming
bishop,
priest. The
charming priest that had just been ordained as a bishop. Yeah. He came to the seminary, that's Bishop Buckle, and then he saw me, and you know how he speaks. He says, "Sonny boy, when are you going to the seminary?" I had not had any discussion about him with him. He just looked at me, and I was standing with others. And he says, "When are you going to the seminary?" I thought it was a joke. I said, "Soon." Then he said, "Okay." 2 weeks later, we went to Nkwetia for a jamboree of youth for the whole of Accra and the Eastern region, because that was the time of the division. This was in 93, the time of the division of Accra. That was the last time we had it together. It was at Nkwetia. There were multitudes of people. Bishop Buckle stood in there and saw me and identified me and asked me to come. He called me in the midst of my friends, and then he said, "Did you go for the interview for the priest, to the seminary?" I was like, how does this man know me? Yes, he just called me, and I said, we went for the interview, but it was late. He says, "It was late? No way. You will hear from me." Well, a week later, I was called, "Come for the interview." He took a decision that my bishop even didn't take for me. I was not his seminarian. But yes, I went, and myself and Father David Ando, we were the ones who went late. And the two of us who went late for Accra, when there were others, we were the only ones who became priests that year. And those who were already in there, all the three of them that we went to meet, never ended up as priests.
Wow.
This is our story. So these are some of the harbingers that have happened in my life. So I know very well that it didn't happen. I mean, it's not just me. I know that there was a calling and I responded to it. And every day I'm still responding to this calling.
For you know, we still have a lot of harbingers in there in the book that you can explore to know. Father gives a lot of them. Some were friends. Some were people who just met, out there, who just ask you, "Hi, young priest," and you wonder, "Hi, young priest, I've never told you I'm a priest," and these are indications. So sometimes in the parishes, the young ones are asking, "Father, how do I know God is calling me?" These are some of the practical ways. It is only when we ignore these harbingers that we lose the vocation. But we need to pay attention to these things and the voice of God and the people around us. And then God uses these people to call us. If you read this book, as I've said over and over again, you'll find more to it and many other things that will help you to grow. Father, as we end this episode, what will be your last words?
In this last words that we have talked about, harbingers is a way of acknowledgement.
Yeah, okay.
I would like to acknowledge people that have God has used in my life. In fact, There were those that voted against me even to be ordained
From the seminary.
from the seminary. And there are people that today I have reached out to, and I thank them for the role they played. There are people that have made things very difficult for me, and they are also part of it. And I say this honestly because I've come to understand that if I didn't meet people like that, I probably think I would have taken things for granted. There have also been those that have always been my cheerleaders and have always cheered me on. To them also, I doff my cap and I say, God bless you. Coming this far is only by grace. And I am only talking about it not because I think I have gotten to the end, but I think it is appropriate to show gratitude now, even for that far that I have come. So to you, all you great people and those who have not been so much a fan of Father Raymond, God bless you all.
God bless you all. We shall end this episode here, and we shall continue with another episode as we conclude with the discussions on the book, The Flower from My Mother's Garden, authored by Very Reverend Father Raymond Osei Tutu. Get your copy and read this book in full, and you will be a blessing. We'll see you. My name is Father January. See you in another episode. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Grazie.